The Galactic Assembly Hall was enormous, taller than any building on Earth, and wider than a dozen city blocks. Ships from hundreds of species hung in orbit outside, each one like a shining jewel against the blackness of space. Inside, thousands of delegates from across the galaxy were gathered, their forms strange and varied. Some had shimmering scales, some glowed faintly, and some had shapes that humans could hardly name. But all of them shared one goal today: to decide the fate of Earth. On one side of the hall, the human delegation stood quietly. Claire Mason adjusted her jacket and glanced at the crowd. She was tall, but not taller than some of the alien delegates. Her hair was tied back, and her expression was calm. Next to her, Ben Carter checked his notes one last time. He was a diplomat, but not the kind who used words to fight. He relied on observation, on reading the room, and on staying calm when others were panicking. The motion was clear. The major alien blocs, worried about human unpredictability, had proposed a ban. Earth would be forbidden from interstellar trade. Human ships would be denied entry to shared space lanes. Humans would not be allowed to vote in galactic councils or participate in shared projects. The wording was careful, precise, and cruel. It was meant to humiliate, to contain, to remind humanity of its place. As the vote began, a deep silence filled the hall. The delegates cast their decisions in the form of energy pulses. Each pulse lit up the floor in a specific color, showing approval, disapproval, or abstention. Alien scribes hovered above the assembly, recording everything, their instruments humming quietly. Humans had expected some hostility. They had heard whispers, seen reports of alien fleets moving closer to Earth's borders, and noticed unusual inspections at trade ports. But even they were not fully prepared for how openly the galaxy wanted to push them out. The first block voted. A long line of reptilian species, tall and muscular, raised their pulses. The color for ban spread quickly across their section. The hum of energy filled the hall. Claire's hand tightened around the edge of the podium, but her face did not change. Ben leaned slightly toward her and whispered, "They think they can scare us." Claire nodded slightly. "Let them try. They won't understand what's coming." Next came the avian delegates. They were smaller, lighter, with feathers that shimmered in all directions. They too cast their votes, and the ban moved closer to passing. Murmurs ran through the crowd. Some species whispered nervously to each other. Others seemed excited, confident that the humans would crumble. Claire and Ben watched in silence. Humans did not react with anger. They did not shout or argue. They simply smiled faintly, just enough to make others uncomfortable. That calm smile was dangerous. Aliens had learned, over centuries, that fear could be manipulated, anger could be provoked. But calm confidence was harder to predict. In the back of the hall, Claire saw the lead human commander, Alex Brooks, seated quietly. His hands rested on the table, fingers loosely intertwined. He was in charge of the human space fleets, the engineers, the trade coordinators, and the scientists. He had been preparing for this moment for years. He did not need to panic. The human fleets were ready to leave at a moment's notice. Earth had spent decades secretly developing routes, stations, and ships that the galaxy had never known existed. Today, the aliens were about to find out. The voting continued. Species from the outer rim, known for their isolationist habits, hesitated at first. Some abstained, unsure of what humans might do if forced out. Others voted in favor of the ban, thinking it was a safe choice. Claire noticed the hesitation and leaned closer to Ben. "They don't understand humans," she said quietly. "They've spent too much time underestimating us." Ben nodded. "And they will regret it." As the last votes were cast, the hall filled with tension. The ban was approved by a narrow margin. Some species cheered quietly, thinking the humans would beg, complain, or collapse under pressure. Others simply shook their heads, uncertain of what the humans might do next. The human delegates stood together. Claire stepped forward to give a response, but she did not speak of apology or submission. Instead, she smiled. It was a small, calm smile that carried no fear, no anger, only quiet confidence. Every eye in the hall turned to them. Aliens expected defiance, rage, begging, perhaps even threats. They did not expect a smile. The smile was enough to make the assembly uneasy. It was a human trait, simple and small, but it held meaning that the aliens could not read. The humans had already decided what they would do. They would not fight here. In a room full of strangers and witnesses, they would not beg for permission. They had another plan. Outside the assembly hall, human ships in orbit were already moving, not in panic, not in haste, but with precise timing. The fleet commanders, including Ethan Cole and Nora White, ensured that every ship was ready to depart. Supply chains, research stations, and colonies were all set for evacuation. The galaxy had never known how much humans had prepared for this moment. Back in the hall, the alien delegates whispered among themselves. "They are calm," one said in a deep voice, barely audible to the humans. "Too calm." Another replied, "It is almost insulting. They do not fear us." A third, smaller species, tilted its head. "Perhaps they know something we do not." Claire's eyes scanned the room. "They have no idea," she said quietly. "They think we will crumble. They think we are weak." Ben nodded. "Let them keep thinking that." For the humans, leaving the assembly hall was a formality. They had already decided their next moves. Ships were ready, routes were mapped, and supplies were prepared. The galaxy had tried to ban them, but humans did not need permission to exist. They had never needed it. The first human ship moved away from the central hub of the assembly. It was small but sleek, a craft built for speed and stealth. Sensors on alien ships tried to track it, but it disappeared into hidden corridors of space that the aliens did not even know existed. Within minutes, more ships followed, leaving empty hangars behind. As the humans departed, some alien species panicked. "Where are they going?" one asked. "We cannot track them," another shouted. "They must be running. We have succeeded." But the humans were not running. They were moving on their own terms, following routes that the galaxy had never charted. In the council chambers, the ban had officially passed. Humans were now technically exiled, forbidden from returning to shared space. But the assembly quickly realized that the punishment had no teeth. Humans had not begged for mercy, had not asked for reconsideration, and had not reacted with fear. They had simply left, and in leaving, they had revealed that they had planned for this moment all along. Alex Brooks monitored the final departure. "All ships are on course," he said to Nora White. "They won't even know we've gone until it's too late." Nora smiled. "It is almost poetic. They tried to control us, and we just walked away." On Earth, the reaction was calm but quiet. Ordinary humans went about their daily lives, unaware of the political chaos their species had caused in the galaxy. Governments had prepared citizens for possible alien retaliation, but no one expected that the humans themselves would leave. Humanity's departure was orderly. Ships, colonies, and fleets moved according to precise schedules. Not a single ship was lost, and not a single person was left behind. Meanwhile, in distant systems, alien media broadcast images of empty space lanes where human ships had once traveled. Commentators argued endlessly about what had happened. "The humans are retreating," one cried. "We have won," another argued. But humans had not retreated. They had left on their own terms, vanishing from the map, disappearing into areas of space no one else had explored. Back in the assembly hall, Claire Mason and Ben Carter walked slowly toward the exit. They did not speak loudly. They did not shout or argue. They merely walked with calm confidence, knowing that humanity had made its point. The galaxy had tried to ban them, and humanity had answered in the only way it knew how. By refusing to fight where it was not necessary, and by taking control of its own destiny. Aliens whispered in shock as the humans left. "How can they be so confident?" one asked. Another shook its head. "We have underestimated them for too long." And yet, despite the fear, there was no anger. The humans had not attacked. They had not destroyed anyone. They had only smiled, packed their things, and left. For Claire, Ben, and the rest of the human delegation, this was just the beginning. The galaxy had assumed that a ban would hurt humans. The galaxy had assumed that they could be controlled. But humans had learned long ago that control was an illusion, and that preparation and patience were stronger than anger or fear. As their ships moved through hidden corridors, beyond sensors and maps, Claire thought about the future. The galaxy might think that Earth was gone, that humans were trapped, that they were contained. But the truth was the opposite. Humanity was free. Free to explore, free to grow, free to prepare for a galaxy that had never understood them. And somewhere, in the vast blackness of space, the humans smiled. Not in arrogance, not in rage, but in quiet satisfaction. They had been underestimated, and that was exactly how they wanted it. The galaxy had tried to ban Earth, but humans had the final answer. They did not need to fight. They did not need permission. They simply left, and the galaxy could only watch. The humans had left the assembly hall, but the galaxy was far from done with them. Across the stars, alien fleets tried to track the disappearing human ships. Commanders and analysts from dozens of species stared at their screens, puzzled and frustrated. The humans were gone, and yet no one could tell exactly where they had gone. On the human side, the departure was calm and precise. Alex Brooks monitored the fleets from the bridge of the lead ship. His eyes scanned the navigation charts, each route carefully hidden from sensors used by the Galactic Assembly. The stars outside moved slowly, but inside the command room, every human officer worked with perfect timing. Lily Grant, in charge of communications, checked every signal. "All routes are clear," she said. "No interference detected." Claire Mason moved through the control room, quietly observing the crews. "They think we are weak because we left the assembly hall. But the truth is, we are ready. We have always been ready." Ben nodded. "And they will only realize it too late." Alien fleets tried to intercept the humans near the known space lanes. Ships moved in formations designed to trap them. But the humans never entered the main lanes. They used hidden paths, routes that had been discovered decades ago by explorers and surveyors, but kept secret from the rest of the galaxy. Ethan Cole, in charge of navigation, smiled as the alien fleets passed nearby, unaware that they had already been outmaneuvered. "Route Delta 7 is clear," Ethan reported. "All ships moving at maximum efficiency." His voice was calm, but there was pride in it. For years, humans had prepared for situations like this. Fleets had been trained, colonies had been supplied, and every possible challenge had been planned for. Now, it was paying off. In the Outer Rim, alien species had expected chaos. They thought the humans would collapse economically, that their colonies would fail without access to shared space lanes. But reports came in quickly, showing that humans were operating independently. Trade systems switched seamlessly to hidden networks. Supply chains moved through secret channels. Aliens could not understand how humans managed to survive without the galaxy's permission. Back on the lead ship, Alex Brooks reviewed the status of colonies. "All sectors reporting in," he said. "No losses, no delays, Everything is proceeding according to plan. Nora White, his deputy, leaned over his shoulder. It's almost too easy, she said. They expected panic, but they forgot one thing. Humans don't panic. We prepare. Meanwhile, alien leaders began to realize the scale of their mistake. The vote in the assembly had been meant to humiliate, to weaken, to show that humans could be controlled. But instead, it had revealed something the galaxy had never seen before: humanity's full capability when left to its own devices. Reports from various sectors came in. Human fleets had abandoned major trade hubs without resistance. They had left research stations fully stocked and ready to continue, but only for themselves. Colonies near the galactic core, where alien oversight had been strongest, were evacuated carefully. Humans took only what they needed, leaving enough behind to avoid suspicion, but ensuring that nothing could be used against them. Alien commentators tried to make sense of it. "They are retreating," one shouted on a broadcast screen. "They are abandoning their positions." Another replied, "No. They are moving strategically. They are leaving without losses. This is not what we expected." Back on the human ships, Alex Brooks addressed his officers. "We are not retreating. We are not running. We are moving to a position where we control the future, not the past. The galaxy thinks this is chaos, but it is order, and it is ours." Ethan Cole smiled as he watched ships move through hidden routes. "They have no idea where we are going," he said. "And by the time they find out, we will be beyond reach." Long, roan, roan, roan. Long, roan, roan, roan. On Earth, ordinary humans went about their lives, unaware of the larger plan. The news of the ban was covered in the media, but governments had already prepared citizens. Schools, businesses, and cities operated normally. Humanity had made sure that the transition would not cause panic. The evacuation was smooth, controlled, and invisible to most of the galaxy. In a distant sector, alien spies tried to track human activity. They picked up traces of ships, energy signatures, and signals. But each lead turned into a dead end. Humans had prepared for this. Communications were encrypted, signatures masked, and ships moved through corridors unknown to anyone else. It was as if humans had vanished from the galaxy entirely. Claire Mason walked through one of the largest transport ships, checking on the progress. Humans worked calmly and efficiently, loading supplies, monitoring navigation, and coordinating fleets. There was no chaos, no fear, only focus. She paused for a moment and watched young human cadets practicing drills. "The galaxy thinks we are weak," she said quietly to Ben. "They do not see what we are capable of." Ben Carter nodded. "They will see soon enough, and it will change everything." In the alien fleets, panic began to grow. Commands came down to pursue, intercept, and force humans back. But every attempt failed. Human ships appeared where they were not expected and disappeared before they could be caught. Alien leaders began to whisper among themselves, realizing that the humans had outplanned them at every step. "This is impossible," one alien commander said. "How can they move so fast and so quietly?" Another replied, "They must have technology we do not know about. They must have discovered shortcuts, hidden routes." A third added, "No, it is not just technology. They are organized. They are prepared. We underestimated them." The human fleet continued to move deeper into uncharted space. Alex Brooks and Nora White coordinated with other leaders, making sure every ship, every colony, and every supply station was accounted for. "No one is left behind," Alex said firmly. "This is not abandonment. This is strategy." As the humans left known space, they encountered small patrols from alien species. The patrols tried to stop them, but humans did not fight aggressively. They simply avoided engagement, using speed, stealth, and knowledge of space corridors. Alien commanders became frustrated, realizing that humans were not only leaving, but leaving on their own terms. Claire Mason monitored the communications networks. "They think we are vulnerable because we left the assembly," she said. "But we are not. We are stronger than they know." Ben Carter smiled faintly. "And that is the point. Let them think what they want. Let them chase shadows while we build our future." In some hidden sectors, humans began to establish new colonies. These colonies were far beyond the reach of the Galactic Assembly. They had access to resources, water, and energy that no other species had considered. Engineers, scientists, and explorers worked together to expand human presence quietly, efficiently, and without interference. The galaxy began to realize that the humans had not just left, they had escaped. No one could follow them, no one could predict their moves, and no one could stop them. Panic spread among alien leaders. "They are gone," one said. "We have lost them." Another whispered, "They are stronger than we thought. Far stronger." No. Back on the human ships, Alex Brooks looked at the stars ahead. "We are moving beyond maps," he said. "Beyond borders. Beyond control. The galaxy thinks this is a retreat, but it is a victory. The galaxy has no idea what we are capable of." Ethan Cole laughed softly. "They assumed they could corner us. They assumed they could ban us. And now they watch us vanish. This is exactly what we planned." As the fleet moved, small teams of humans explored uncharted systems, mapping planets, stars, and resources. These teams worked silently, efficiently, and without attention from the rest of the galaxy. Every move was precise, every decision planned, and every action accounted for. Humans were not fleeing, they were advancing. Meanwhile, the assembly hall remained in chaos. Alien leaders argued, debated, and tried to understand what had happened. Some suggested sending fleets to search deeper space. Others proposed sending diplomats to negotiate. But no one could find a clear path to follow the humans. It was as if Earth had disappeared entirely. Claire Mason smiled quietly. "They thought they could control us," she said to Ben. "They thought we would beg. They thought we would fight in their assembly. But we never needed them. We only needed ourselves." Ben nodded. "And now, the galaxy sees it. We do not ask for permission. We do not wait for approval. We leave when we choose, and we return when we choose." In hidden corners of space, humans set up new stations, refueling points, and research outposts. These were safe, secure, and unknown to any alien species. They were ready for whatever might come in the future. Humanity had not just left, they had prepared for a galaxy that had never truly understood them. And as the human fleets disappeared into the blackness beyond known maps, the galaxy could only watch. Confusion, fear, and frustration spread among alien leaders. They had tried to ban Earth, to contain humanity, and to assert control. But humans had done something no species had expected. They had taken control of their own destiny and left the galaxy powerless to stop them. For Claire, Ben, Alex, Nora, Ethan, and the rest of humanity, this was only the beginning. They had shown the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. They had shown that preparation, strategy, and calm confidence were far stronger than fear or anger. And they had shown that humans did not need the galaxy's permission to exist, explore, or thrive. The stars stretched ahead, endless and uncharted. And humanity moved through them with quiet confidence, leaving the galaxy to wonder. What would the humans do next? Months had passed since humanity quietly left the Galactic Assembly. The stars looked the same, the planets spun in familiar orbits, but something vital had changed. Human fleets, colonies, and trade stations had vanished from known space. The galaxy had tried to ban them, to control them, to intimidate them, but humans had not resisted. Instead, they had disappeared. And now, the absence of humanity was beginning to cause chaos. In the Outer Rim, alien species struggled to maintain supply chains that humans had once managed. Goods that traveled between core systems and frontier planets were delayed, misrouted, or completely lost. Ships waited for signals that never arrived. Factories that depended on human technology slowed to a crawl. Aliens who had assumed humans were weak realized their mistake. They had relied on humans in ways they did not even understand. At a command center on a mining planet, alien leaders stared at large displays showing gaps in trade routes and failing systems. One of them, a tall reptilian named Vorik, slammed his clawed hand on the table. "We cannot believe this," he shouted. "Humans were supposed to be contained. They were supposed to beg. And now we are losing everything." Another, a smaller, glowing species, called Tiala, spoke quietly. "It is not just their technology," she said. "It is their organization. They prepared for this. Every step, every escape, every supply line, everything was planned. We underestimated them, and now we suffer the consequences." Meanwhile, in uncharted space, human fleets moved with precision. Alex Brooks oversaw the migration personally. "All colonies report in," he said. "No interruptions, no losses. Everyone is on schedule." Nora White, standing beside him, scanned navigation feeds. "They will not find us here," she said. "Not yet. We control this space completely." The humans were not hiding for fear. They were moving to secure their future. Every planet they visited, every system they charted, was carefully assessed. Engineers, scientists, and explorers worked to make sure resources were available. Colonies were established with full support and supply lines that did not rely on alien systems. Humans had learned long ago that independence was strength. In a small command ship, Ethan Cole checked on a team of surveyors. "You have coordinates for the next jump?" he asked. The young pilot nodded. "Yes." "All systems checked. No interference." Ethan smiled faintly. "Good. Remember, every route we take now is a path they cannot follow. Keep it precise." On Earth, people continued life normally, unaware of the scale of their species' migration. Governments had organized everything carefully. Citizens did not panic because there was no reason to panic. Human colonies that had been near alien-controlled regions moved quietly and efficiently. Supplies were stocked, communications were maintained, and no one was left behind. Back in alien-controlled systems, leaders were growing frantic. The absence of humanity had exposed weaknesses in galactic infrastructure. Trade routes collapsed, border defenses weakened, and some technological networks failed completely. Species who had once thought themselves independent suddenly realized how much they had relied on human systems. In a distant sector, a council of alien commanders met. "We cannot catch them," Vorik said angrily. "They are gone from known space, and our sensors cannot track them. We underestimated humans completely." Tiala shook her head. "They were never meant to be controlled. They planned for this long before we even knew the assembly existed." Another commander spoke, voice trembling. "They are not just leaving. They are taking control of the galaxy in a way we cannot stop. Every step they take is ours to watch, but not to follow." Humans, however, moved with care and precision. Every fleet, every colony, every station was accounted for. No ship was lost. Supplies were distributed efficiently. Engineers ensured that no energy grids failed. Scientists worked to secure clean water, resources, and food systems. It was not chaos, it was quiet perfection. Claire Mason walked through a major transport vessel, observing young cadets practicing drills. "The galaxy thinks we are fleeing," she said, quietly to Ben Carter. "They think our absence is weakness, but it is strength. They cannot follow what they do not understand." Ben nodded. "And by the time they realize, we will be too far ahead. They will only see shadows of what we have done." In another human colony, Nora White met with settlement leaders. "Everything is operational?" she asked. They nodded. "We have energy, water, food, and defense systems fully functional. Nothing relies on outside support." Nora smiled. "Good. That is exactly how it should be. Independence is power." Alien fleets continued to search for humans, but every attempt failed. Ships arrived in sectors that humans had already vacated. Communications tried to contact missing colonies, but humans did not respond unless necessary. Aliens began to fear that humanity had vanished completely, leaving the galaxy to struggle without them. On the lead ship, Alex Brooks looked at the navigation charts. "All ships accounted for," he said. "No delays, no errors. Humans are moving not to escape but to advance. We are not leaving the galaxy, we are expanding in ways no one else can imagine." Ethan Cole checked the next jump coordinates. "Next sector is clear," he said. "No known species nearby." He glanced at the map and smiled. "They will not see us coming. By the time they notice, we will be beyond their reach." Across human fleets, communications were silent, unless necessary. Humans did not seek attention. They did not fight for recognition. They simply moved with order, efficiency, and precision. Alien observers could not understand why humans left quietly. They expected loud displays, battles, or negotiations. Instead, there was only calm, and that calm unnerved them. In the outer rim, alien analysts began to calculate the impact of human absence. Trade, communication, technology, defense, everything humans had supported was failing. Confusion and fear spread as systems collapsed. Species that had relied heavily on humans were forced to scramble. Alliances strained. Arguments broke out, and conflicts started to rise. The galaxy was beginning to feel the absence of Earth in a very real way. Meanwhile, human colonists continued to expand into uncharted space. Every new world they settled was carefully chosen for resources, safety, and strategic value. Engineers built stations to support travel, scientists studied planets, and fleets patrolled quietly to maintain order. Humans did not want war. They wanted independence and security. But they were more than ready for any threat. Claire Mason walked through one of the largest human stations. The facility was clean, efficient, and buzzing with activity. "The galaxy thinks we are gone," she said softly to Ben Carter. "But we are not gone. We are beyond what they can reach, and that is the real power." Ben nodded. "And when the time comes, they will see it. We do not need to fight in their space. We only need to be prepared in ours." Reports from human fleets showed continued success. Every jump, every colony, every station was secure. Humans were not just surviving, they were thriving. They were taking full advantage of freedom, moving into areas where alien influence was weak or non-existent. Humans were building a future on their own terms. Alien leaders tried to adapt, but every plan failed. "We cannot track them," one said. "We cannot predict their movements. We have lost control." Another added, "We thought banning them would weaken them. Instead, it has strengthened them. They are operating on a scale we cannot understand." In hidden sectors, humans set up research facilities to explore advanced technology. They studied new energy sources, faster navigation, and even long-range communication that could not be detected. Every effort was coordinated to ensure long-term survival and advancement. Humans were not just fleeing, they were advancing beyond the galaxy's expectations. Alex Brooks reviewed the final status reports. All fleets are in position, he said. All colonies are operational. The galaxy cannot follow us. We are beyond reach, and we are stronger for it. Ethan Cole laughed softly as he watched ships move through hidden routes. They thought they could contain us, he said. They thought they could control us. And now we move freely, while they scramble to understand what we have done. Meanwhile, alien leaders were growing desperate. Borders weakened, trade collapsed, and systems dependent on humans began to fail. The assembly that had once voted to ban Earth realized their mistake. They had underestimated humanity completely. They had assumed that humans would crumble under pressure. They had assumed that humans were just another species to control. They had been wrong. On the human side, life continued with calm efficiency. Ships moved, colonies expanded, and fleets explored. Humans did not celebrate their absence, they did not need recognition. They only needed to move forward, to ensure that the galaxy would never again underestimate them. Claire Mason looked at the stars ahead and smiled. They thought they could ban us. They thought they could contain us. And they are watching as we vanish. This is just the beginning. Ben Carter nodded. Yes. And when the time comes, they will see the true strength of humanity. For now, we remain free, and we remain beyond their reach. The galaxy watched helplessly as humans disappeared into uncharted space. Panic, confusion, and fear spread across star systems. Trade routes failed, alliances broke down, and technology that had depended on human expertise faltered. Humanity had left, and the galaxy had no idea how much it had relied on them. On the lead human ship, Alex Brooks addressed his fleet. We move forward not because we are running, but because we are building our future. Every step we take is ours alone. The galaxy may think we are gone, but we are only beginning. And somewhere, deep in uncharted space, humans smiled quietly. Not in arrogance, not in rage, but in calm confidence. The galaxy had tried to ban them. The galaxy had tried to control them. And the galaxy had failed completely. Humanity was free, prepared, and stronger than ever. Years passed since humanity quietly left the known galaxy. In that time, the absence of humans became more than noticeable. It became a crisis for alien civilizations. Supply routes that had relied on human technology collapsed. Borders that had depended on human patrols were now unguarded. Systems, once thriving under shared human expertise, began to fail. Alien leaders whispered urgently in corridors, realizing too late how much they had depended on Earth. On a distant observation platform, Vorek, the tall reptilian commander, slammed his claws against a control panel. It was a mistake, he growled. We thought banning them would weaken humans. We thought we controlled them. But they are beyond reach. Every system we relied on is failing without them. Every calculation we made assumed they would beg or fight. They did neither. Every one. They won, quote. Tiala, the glowing species from the outer rim, floated beside him. They planned for this, she said quietly. Every fleet, every colony, every hidden route, they had it ready. And now, we are helpless. Back in the unknown reaches of space, humans moved with calm efficiency. Alex Brooks watched the navigation charts, a faint smile on his face. Every fleet, every colony, every station was operating perfectly. Not a single mistake had been made. Humans were not hiding. They were building. They were exploring, securing resources, and preparing for the next stage of expansion. Nora White walked along one of the lead ships, checking on the crew. Engineers monitored energy grids. Pilots checked navigation systems. And young cadets practiced drills with perfect precision. The galaxy believes we are gone, she said softly to Alex. They think we are weak. They cannot see how strong we are. Alex nodded. Let them think that. Their fear will grow, and our position will strengthen. We do not need their permission, nor do we need their approval. We only need ourselves. On Earth, life went on normally. Humans who remained on the home planet did not panic. They had already prepared for this long ago. Governments, businesses, and families all continued without disruption. The migration into new systems was seamless. Humans who had left were not abandoning their species, they were expanding it, carefully and strategically. In distant sectors, alien fleets continued to search for humans. They tried sensors, communications, and patrols, but every effort failed. Humans moved through uncharted corridors, avoiding detection, always ahead by years of preparation. Some alien analysts admitted quietly that they had underestimated humanity completely. Every prediction they had made was wrong. Every expectation had been shattered. Claire Mason and Ben Carter monitored communication lines between fleets and colonies. The galaxy still does not understand, Claire said. They think our absence is weakness. But our strength is in preparation, in strategy, in moving without them noticing. Every fleet, every station, every colony we control quietly is another step ahead. Ben smiled faintly. And that is the smirk that will haunt them. They wanted to control us, but they only made us stronger. In uncharted space, humans began establishing larger colonies. They built energy grids, research centers, and training facilities. Scientists studied new technologies. Engineers designed ships that were faster, stronger, and more efficient. Every step was planned, every action coordinated. Humans were not just surviving, they were thriving. Beyond the galaxy's reach, and beyond the galaxy's imagination, Alex Brooks met with his top officers on the bridge of the flagship. All fleets are operating at maximum efficiency, he said. Every colony reports full functionality. The galaxy cannot follow us. We control our destiny. Ethan Cole, overseeing navigation, nodded. They will not find us. By the time they realize what we have done, we will be stronger than ever, and they will only see shadows of our movements. Meanwhile, alien leaders were growing desperate. Trade routes remained unreliable. Systems that had depended on human technology faltered. Border defenses weakened. And in the assembly, debates turned into arguments, and arguments into blame. Species pointed fingers at each other, but no one could solve the problem. Humanity was gone, and nothing the assembly could do would bring them back. In quiet observation rooms, alien analysts finally admitted the truth. We misjudged them, Tiala whispered. They are not like any species we have seen. They do not fear control. They do not fight in expected ways. They plan, they prepare, and they act beyond our reach. On the human side, new fleets were being launched to survey even farther systems. Every ship was designed for efficiency and speed. Every crew trained in multiple skills. Humans had learned long ago that relying on anyone else was dangerous, so they relied only on themselves. Every colony had sufficient resources to survive independently. Every fleet could navigate and operate without instruction from Earth. In one of the new colonies, Nora White watched as young humans trained in strategy and exploration. They will never catch up, she said quietly. Not unless they rethink everything they know. Claire Mason smiled faintly. And they cannot. They have already underestimated us too many times. Every misjudgment has made us stronger, faster, smarter. Every assumption they made against us has failed. As humans moved through hidden corridors of space, they discovered new planets rich in minerals, water, and energy. Scientists began studying these worlds, engineers built stations, and fleets patrolled to ensure safety. Humans were not conquering, they were preparing. Every colony was self-sufficient. every fleet capable, and every station secure. The galaxy, however, began to feel the absence of Earth in ways no one had expected. Conflicts rose as species competed for resources humans had once managed. Trade slowed. Communication lines collapsed. Border patrols failed. The Assembly realized too late that humans had been the glue holding much of the galaxy together. Back on the lead human ship, Alex Brooks addressed his fleet. The galaxy assumed our absence would hurt us. Instead, it has strengthened us. Every system we control quietly is a step ahead. Every hidden corridor is a shield. And every colony we establish is a foundation for the future. Ethan Cole watched as ships moved through uncharted space. They wanted to ban us, he said softly. They thought they could contain us, but they cannot even find us. And by the time they do, it will be too late. On Earth, ordinary humans continued life normally. People went to work, to school, to markets. They did not panic. The species that had left had prepared everything. The species that remained had nothing to fear. Humans were united, independent, and free. In alien-controlled space, leaders began to understand the true extent of their failure. We tried to ban them, Vorik growled. We tried to control them. We thought they would crumble, but they have vanished. And now, we cannot follow them. We cannot stop them. They are beyond reach. Tiala floated silently beside him. They do not fight like us. They do not react like us. They plan, they prepare, and they move quietly. Every step they take strengthens them. While we scramble in confusion, we have created the very problem we feared. Meanwhile, humans explored farther than anyone had imagined. Colonies were self-sufficient. Fleets were mobile and organized. Scientists studied new worlds. Engineers prepared resources for future generations. Every system, every station, every fleet was a step forward. Humanity had taken control of its destiny. Claire Mason looked out at the stars. They thought banning us would stop us. They thought exiling us would weaken us. And now, they watch as we thrive beyond their reach. This is the smirk they will never forget. Ben Carter nodded. Yes, and when the time comes, we will return on our terms. Not because we are forced, but because we choose. They will realize, too late, that humans cannot be controlled, cannot be confined, and cannot be underestimated. Years passed, and the galaxy slowly adapted to human absence. Conflicts rose, trade slowed, technology faltered, and species learned they had relied too much on Earth. And somewhere in the blackness of space, humanity quietly prospered. Alex Brooks watched as fleets moved through hidden corridors. Nora White checked on new colonies. Ethan Cole mapped unknown star systems. Claire Mason and Ben Carter coordinated fleets and settlements. Every action was precise, every plan executed perfectly. Humans had vanished from known space, but they had not vanished from influence. Every step of their departure had left the galaxy weaker and humanity stronger. And somewhere, deep in uncharted space, humans smiled. Not loudly, not with arrogance, but with calm confidence. The galaxy had tried to ban Earth. The galaxy had tried to control humanity. And the galaxy had failed completely. Humans had taken control of their destiny. They had expanded beyond reach. They had survived and thrived. And they would return one day, not because they were forced, not because they were weak, but because they chose to. The galaxy could only watch, powerless, as the humans moved through the stars, free, prepared, and stronger than ever. And the smirk of humanity, quiet and calm, would haunt every alien species for generations. The galaxy had learned one truth: underestimate humans at your own risk.